Hello everybody and welcome back to Hearts of Iron, where we are currently grinding it out over here. It's a... hello, pause menu. It's a very awkward fight for sure, but there's a ton of reinforcements filtering their way over from the Russian Federation. And that's kind of huge, actually. They're making their way over here, and hopefully we'll be able to make some real actual gains over here. However, in the meantime, we are currently working on transitioning our Coast Guard over into our Garrison divisions rather than our infantry divisions. We do need another 16, or rather another... hang on a moment. We need 4 more here. Yeah, so we need 16 infantry in each of these. So there's 16 here right now, there's 16 here, there's 16 here. So we need 4 more units of infantry in this unit, and then we need another 12. So we need a total of 16. That's fine. What I'm going to do here is I'm actually going to pull some units from this army. And we're going to pull these 6. And we're going to put them... let's see here. We're going to put... actually, no, we're going to pull 4. What am I talking about? We're going to do 1, 2, 3, 4. And we're going to pull them over to here. Okay. That's all we're going to do there for this exact moment. We are attacking over here and succeeding for the time being anyway. Along this front, what we really want to do is get control of this supply zone here. That's going to be a very big deal for us if we can get control of the supply zone and start building actual supplies there. Now, we do have the ability to do region-wide industrial integration, and so we shall. Now, where can we build a potential civilian factory? Hello, right there. Fantastic. That becomes top priority, and we are going to continue working on that. Wonderful. So we can see that the Russians and Americans are making some attacks along this front, but mostly it's probably going to be us, if we're honest. Now, we are still fairly low on our manpower, so we'll chill on a balanced approach here. We're not really seeing any major opportunities to push in a manual push right now, although perhaps here, but we're reorienting up this direction, and that's fine. Okay, so we do need a 5th army here. How quickly are we currently recruiting? 10? I'm going to add 2 more. Okay, there we go. And yes, we absolutely can't keep this recruitment up for too long, at least until we get all of our infantry into these armies, which currently we only need 16 more. You know... we could just do that. Yeah, that's going to plummet our manpower, but that's okay. That's going to be completely fine. In theory, anyway. Hopefully that'll be fine. Yeah, we'll see. I mean, we're going to have to back off on that recruitment pretty quickly, right? But that's to be expected. Did we just push them out of here? Yes, we did. Fantastic. That is absolutely wonderful. And we are winning the counterattack. So that is a successful push. I'm just wondering, yeah, this is now linked up, this supply zone. So we can now see that this whole supply zone here, it's pretty limited. And that's because it's actually no longer flowing like this. It's actually more limited than it was before we took this area. That's awkward, to be sure. I don't suppose we can build infrastructure here yet. No, we can't. Okay, well, our logistics over here are going to be a problem for a while. There's no real way around that. We're only flowing in 6, which is actually slightly surprising because we have a supply throughput limit of 30 here and 27 here. So why are we only getting 6? 2.58 local infrastructure, fair enough. 25% of previous infrastructure, 0. Ah. Our supply line has diverged. Now that makes sense. How are we actually doing on this supply line? We do have 100% route efficiency. So that's not an issue. Okay. Well, that's definitely good to know. That is definitely good to know. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to replace 8 units out of our Coast Guards. In fact, we could just eliminate a few units right now. So 1, 2, 3... I need to do it this way. With shift rather than control. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then we just disband those. They get returned to the manpower pool, and we're doing fine. Fantastic. So that will replace all of this manpower, and we'll deploy these relatively as soon as we can. We are, of course, going to shift them into here, and these 16 units... 1, 2, 3, 4, 5... No. Don't scroll me back up like that. That confused me. Okay. 1, 2, 3... We don't want this because that's a foreign unit. Yeah, that's very awkward. Okay, I'm going to pause the game so that it doesn't do that anymore. Oh, okay. It's just wanting to randomly reset it. Great. Fantastic. So we're going to take these 16 units. We are going to assign them to a new army, and they are going to be moved up to this theater. Fantastic. And that's this army group. Now, I would like to have some leadership here. And we'll go ahead and recruit 2 new commanders. Fantastic. Okay, so that's all of our infantry up here. At this point, we're just going to put units into our Coast Guard, and as they fill up, we will start replacing units of infantry that are not foreign with these garrison divisions. That'll be fine. Fantastic. So, I mean, we're continuing our attacks over here, but they're unlikely to be super successful because we have so low supply flow over here. And I'm still wondering why it's actually this low. Because we have supplies going directly into this naval base, specifically through 27 here. You don't have enough dockyards allocated for repairs to use the full capacity of the naval base. But I think that's for repairs, not for supply flow. Interesting. So why are we not seeing any supplies flowing in through here? We should be seeing 71.6 supplies flowing in, with a route efficiency of 100%. Now that should be capped to 30 because of these naval bases, although perhaps to 60. Which would be enough. I mean, our local infrastructure is not helping, that's for sure. That's very, very true. Intriguing. This is definitely not the way I expected this supply area to work. Okay, so let's take a look at the malices here. Okay. Not particularly helpful there. That's in the state level. So let's come up over here. We can see a level 10 naval base. Fantastic. And yeah, there's no malices or bonuses to supply flow here. And yes, infrastructure is really, really bad. We knew that. There's nothing we can do about that at this time. Interesting. And supplies are not coming in overland over here either. Which is also kind of intriguing. I would definitely prefer that they come overland. Fascinating. Well, I'm not entirely sure what's going on with this supply flow. It's very strange to me. This is not the way I expected this to work. Who actually holds this? We do. Perfect. Russia claims it, but that's fine. They can do that. Well, let's go ahead and we're not quite ready to deploy these guys over here. They're going to be ready here in about 8 days. so we'll just go ahead and wait on that. That will be completely fine. And I mean, we're just slowly working on allowing our allied units to come on over, but they're going to be causing some potential supply issues, particularly in here. We really need to push in. The question is there any weakness here that we can really take advantage of? That is a question, isn't it? For right now, I'm going to delete all orders, and we're going to put in a new front line with our army group right here. So we can see that Army 5 is up to here. This is going to be Army 8. And then this over here is Army 1. Okay, so Army 8 is going to be told, your job is to push an offensive line simply like that. Go ahead and execute it. And then Army 1, your job, let's look at this state outline here. Yeah, so Army 1's job is going to be to push an offensive line simply like this. And they will go ahead and execute that when they're able to. Now, who is manning this over here? This is Army 2. Okay, so Army 2's job will be to push in something like this. And they will go ahead and execute that. And then we've got Army 5 over here. Where's Army 7 assigned? Over here. Okay. So Army 5, they are just going to, like, push to these mountains, something like that. And then Army 7's job, they're going to also attempt to push in something kind of like this, although this is probably pretty unlikely to happen. So they'll go ahead and execute that. Okay. So we'll get that underway. It'll take some time for these troops to get into position. And that's completely okay. We are almost done with this civilian factory. That is wonderful. And we're extremely close at this point to being able to deploy all of our garrison units. And that's fine. We're going to go ahead and do that. We're going to garrison deploy them now. Excellent. So we'll just instantly deploy all of these lines. There we go. And these units, they are going to that's all 16 divisions, they're all going to go into this Coast Guard unit, which, remember, needs 65 units in it. We're going to continue our recruitment over here. These guys will pop in momentarily. Yeah, that used up basically all of the remaining manpower, but that is to be expected. So we'll let that go for now. And we will disband 8 additional units when we're ready to deploy again from this Coast Guard. We'll disband these 4 here, plus an additional... Actually, we'll disband, like, some of these guys. Maybe even all of them? But that's going to wait until we are ready to deploy these lads. Which we're not just yet. So we are, of course, redeploying up here, and that's going to take a little bit of time. As far as this logistics here goes, I'm kind of at a loss as to why this is the way it is. It's now up to 7. Because the local infrastructure is apparently improving? Fascinating. Why would the local infrastructure be improving? Are the Japanese constructing here? Maybe. I don't think they are, though. I really don't believe that they're constructing. They haven't been thus far. So that's definitely very interesting, but we're going to continue moving around. Yes, it's January. Yes, it's going to take a while. Especially with these infrastructure numbers. That's for sure. That's going to take quite a while, in fact. They have pretty heavy defenses over here. And over here they have moderate defenses. Fairly light here, honestly. But I think that's due to the supply constraints. I'm reasonably certain of that. We are going to have some research finishing up, not like it matters. And we are continuing our infantry equipment production. That is ramping up in its efficiency, and that's great. A lot of these supplies are simply not getting to the front, though, because we need 10 times as many supplies in the state. Now, we have an unassigned infantry division here. Why do we have an unassigned infantry division? Oh, we were recruiting one, weren't we? We actually need to fully stop that recruitment. This infantry division actually needs to be disbanded. Okay, there we go. So they will be returned to the manpower pool, and that is completely fine. We're going to continue our attacks over here as best we can. It's only a matter of time at this point until we get all that put together. I do want to bump up our modern tank brigades to 2 divisions, though, so we'll get that underway. Because a number of these armies are short on their tanks. In fact, we only have 2 that have their full complement of 8 tanks. Once we're finished recruiting these tanks, we are going to be in a much, much better position for replenishing our tanks than we currently are, but that'll be fine. So we are working on additional naval bases over here. Not like that's actually all that impactful, really. We mostly have the supplies that we need, except for in this one state, and the reason we don't have it in this state, I believe, is simply because of the local infrastructure. So we need to push in over here, that's all there is to it. We're still working on rearranging our units, of course. It's still the middle of winter up here in Siberia, and it's going to be a little while yet. Let's see if we can do any more region-wide industrial integration. In fact, we can. And I'd love to get another civilian factory rolling, and yeah, we can definitely do that. So we're going to get that as the top priority. Fantastic. We are still very short on some materials. That's not great, of course, but it's, I guess, fine. I guess we'll craft motorized rocket artillery. What else are we going to do? Okay, so yeah, you can see here that the Japanese have some pretty heavy defenses here. Now, I believe that they are still basically out of manpower unless they went up on their service level. They did not, which actually surprises me, considering that they're being pushed back on a bunch of fronts by the Allies right now. So that's definitely concerning. And we'll just grab close air support over here. I mean, largely the reason why we're struggling over here is equipment reasons, right? So that's definitely the issue currently. Yeah, over here that's a big problem. We can see over here that our morale is, or rather our organization isn't great, and we're over the soft cap because of our supply. So our organization isn't going to get much better. Mountain infantry finishing up. And we are going to put in some mechanized here. One thing we could do, in theory, is spread our forces thinner over in this region. With the Allied troops here, though, I'm not sure how useful that will actually be, because there's only 7 supply available here. We kind of need to push in over this way, so that we can continue to push in over this way, and push to the sea over here. So we'll see how these pushes go, but we're pretty unlikely, I think, to make much for gains over in this region. Okay, so these guys are getting fairly close to being deployable. So I think we are going to go ahead and select all of these guys. How many units is this going to be? This is going to be quite a number of units. In fact, that is 12 units. Not too bad. We're going to go ahead and disband those. All of that will go back to the manpower pool. Fantastic. And then we're going to deploy these as soon as we can. We're currently paused, and I actually meant to not be paused while doing that, but whatever. Close enough. Close enough. So that puts us back up to 300k manpower. And of course, we should have been making these garrison units from the get-go. I just didn't. That is something we should have done. So this Coast Guard is down to 35 units, but we don't need to do any more disbanding here. So that'll be fine. And once they are back up to their 65, then we will continue with things like this. This is a whole lot of manpower that is in these locations that should definitely be pulled back. Question. Should we add in to our garrison a logistics company? We are seeing some attrition in our garrison units. I'm going to toss in some logistics companies there. And just to use less in certain locations in terms of supply. So that'll be fine for now. We are going to want to ramp up our tank recruitment sometime soon-ish, but I think that with us heavily recruiting for our garrisons, now is probably not the time for that. Okay. Did we push them in here? Or did we get pushed out? I'm actually unclear what happened here. Interesting. Oh, we actually pulled out of there because we have an army that's intended to come over here that isn't here yet. Right. Okay, where are they? They're on their way. Great. So that is absolutely fantastic. Once they arrive over here, this army should be not really better suited to taking this, but better than what we had, anyway, which was stretched a little more thin. So it shouldn't be too much longer now, and we will start gaining actual progress here. But again, the primary thing that's holding us back is our logistics here. That is our primary issue. And we do have logistics companies in our infantry divisions and our armored divisions for this exact reason. But we still require a decent amount of supply. So there's only so much we can do on that front. Let's go ahead and deploy our garrison units. You get deployed as well. Thank you. Okay, so all of these garrison units, all 16 of them, go into this Coast Guard division. Excellent. That puts us down to about 50k manpower. That's a manageable amount for now. Let's see, 16 additional units would put this just over 65. So I think this is fine. I think this is just fine. Excellent. Overall, this will free up quite a lot of manpower to the front, and that will be absolutely great. We do, like I said, want to step up our tank recruitment at some point soon. But for now, 2 will do. For now. Are the Russians leaving? No, they're just rotating their troops, it looks like. Okay, fair enough. We do have units that are landing over here. It is still February, so it's still taking us some time to get oriented here. We're not yet set up for our final layout here. So that's good to know. We will be set up for that soon-ish. Soon-ish. I would like to do another region-wide industrial integration, but now is not the time for that, since we don't have the command power, or the political power, rather. So, I mean, we're just kind of in a bit of a stalemate here, and that's to be expected. With our supply issue here, anyway. Once we solve this issue and get our troops over here and start really attacking, we should, in theory, anyway, be able to push this back and take control of this state. Once we take control of this state, things will change fairly dramatically and fairly quickly. But that is still a little ways in the future. And it is time to put a cut in here, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. And next episode, we are going to see if we can get pushed in here and take control of this logistics area. You can leave your offerings to the engagement gods in the form of likes, comments, subscribes, and bell ringings, and I will see you all next time.